Introduction. I mean, he's every time you turn on the TV set, you go, hey, that guy looks familiar, and then you go, oh no, that's Gene. That's Gene. And I've said that so many times on TV. Oh, and it's kind of a thrill to see somebody that you know on TV like that. And Gene has always been my hero. And I could tell you stories about this guy. He would get you on the mat and scissor your head and then start doing this rolling fall-like thing, and you would have to flip over, flip over, flip over, and I felt like I was a flat tire on a freeway. Pop, pop, pop. But Gene would do that to you, and then he would look at you and say, who's the best looking guy in the dojo? And you would yell, you are, Gene, you are! Anyway, my hero, Gene LeBell.
Well, I'll tell you something, I don't have to be nice to you anymore. I've got a full stomach, and I can badmouth all of you now. Anyway, to get down to business, and I have no business. Ladies and gentlemen and kids of all ages. Nishioka Hayward, this damn thing on. I've got nothing important anyway. Nishioka told my little adopted niece, her name's Rhonda, she says, he's only got 20 minutes to talk, and you know, Jade, he's got diarrhea of the mouth. So she came up with this. It's a stopwatch, and I can only go 20 minutes. And my little niece, Rhonda, her mother, said, why did you give that to Uncle Gene? Anna Marie's her name. She does a little judo. She says, Gene can't tell time. Well, we're going to start it off anyway. They asked who I trained with. A lot of people that have dojos, they say, just come to our dojo. It's the best. Did I ever tell you I did kendo? Not bad. I went to Japan to the Keicho Taikan. Some little dwarf like this hit me with one of those dropping kendo sticks, beat the out of me. Then I grabbed him. Different story. I trained at Hollywood Dojo with Sensei, a couple of national champions there. Sano, and even you talk about national champions, these guys are great. I mean, you look up to them. That's why I got a bad neck. So many people, it's just unbelievable. Tosh Sano, Art M.A., his brother Frank, all, well, Sano, you're still alive. Honest to God. All my guys I used to do judo with, they all died of old age. So when I get to heaven, maybe I can run Dory with them. Anyway, I've trained at different facilities like Hollywood Dojo, Sawtell a couple days a week, Seinan with Kunyuki Sensei. He hated me. I loved him. Great judo man, incidentally. I went to Tenri because he had a great shower. All trained at the LA Athletic Club. The LA Athletic Club had professional wrestlers, not clowns, but the real deals. and they do arm locks, leg locks, Greco-Roman wrestling, which is from the waist up, freestyle, which is the waist up, waist down. You can do singles and double. That's leg grabs, something that Go-Kart likes. And I worked out at Main Street Gym, learned how to box. I boxed with a guy named Sugar Ray Robinson, if you ever heard of him. And one of my big thrills is when I started doing movie work, I got to hire him in a movie. I fought him the first time I worked with him. The first round, he hit me 300 times. But that was okay. Felt good when it stopped. I worked with Archie Moore, who was a light heavyweight champion. Every person you work with, it's a learning process. A lot of the dojos wouldn't welcome me. After I turned pro, a couple people from Nanka said, "Oh, Bakatori Hakati, don't let him work out here." They're right. But I went to a place, Hal Sharp, and he said, "Hey, mi casa su casa. My home is your home." And I worked out with Hal, and you could look at Hal, listen to him. Great judo man, don't care if he's ugly, he's still a great man. Now, a guy like that is a true judo person. You know, somebody you respect from the heart. Some of these guys I went against in tournament when I was on a movie in Dallas, Texas. I went into a guy's dojo, Vince Tamura, and I think he was on one Olympic team. A pretty good judo man, right? Okay. He said, "Will you honor us by working out?" He gave me a double weave gi. Now then I used single weave. Double weave was very expensive. He gave me the honor of teaching the class. So after it was over, it was all sweaty and everything, I want to give it back to him. He says, "No, you can keep it." And I thought, "Gee, what a generous man." And then I thought, well, maybe it was so sweaty, he didn't want a dirty old key bag. Anyway, when I went out to his car with him, he had on his license plate an 8th Dan. And he since passed away. I guess he died at 10th. Anyway, great man. I went to Sun Valley Dojo, and I met a couple people here today from Sun Valley. I went there, I always carried a gi in my car. Anytime you're a true judo man, you carry a gi in your car. So I went there, and I knew they wouldn't let me work out. And but I went there anyway, and I went to the teacher there, a little guy that I met in Japan. He said hello and everything like that. And I said, well, I got my gi in the car, but Nanka doesn't want me to work out at a lot of your schools. And he showed me a picture on the wall of Jigoro Kano, 1882. He kind of founded this judo bit. And he said, of course he'd let me work out. Sun Valley Dojo, I started working out there. And believe me, it was a great dojo. And a few of the people came in from other dojos that I wasn't allowed to work out, but so I had fun working out with these guys. It's tough living with yourself when you're a sadistic bastard. Now, in my waning years, I only work out at one dojo. Why? Because this dojo, which is called Hayastan, Armenia, they do a little bit of everything. MMA, has anybody ever heard of MMA? No, either have I. I judge a few of those matches every once in a while. I'll do anything for money. I'm a prostitute. They do boxing, wrestling, judo, go-kart Trevichen, to me, is the best teacher I have ever seen. The guy's unbelievable. He's a god. You know why? Because he had the best teacher in the world. And with all kidding aside, in North Hollywood, if you want to come and visit us at Hyatt, I'm there Monday nights. And you can see his beautiful wife, Noreen, whose birthday is the 5th. Happy birthday, Noreen. Yeah. Pick your school, visit all the schools, and learn from everything, everybody. One thing I hate to do is wear a tie. I hate to wear a tie. Sometimes you have to. I did a little charity work with a young lady named Anna Marie. She had me wear a tie. I said, I'm not going to wear a tie. She choked me, I wore a tie. I said, how about Dennis the Menace, your husband? He don't wear a tie, and he don't go with me. So she made me wear a tie. I cried for a while, but then I got over it. Also, the second lady is my beautiful, charming wife, Midge older than me. Was a student of Hayward's. She preferred Hayward to me because he was tougher, better coach, and he was nicer to me. But that was 45 years ago. Anna Marie, you'll be talking to her, listening to her later. She's first woman from this country to win a Worlds. She's my hero, and it's nice to be around people like that. She even comes to our dojo and teaches once in a while. Not for the students, just to, she wants to kick me in the shins.
I need better security.
Oh boy. And this, on the serious note, traveling around the country and the world, I was back east working on a movie again. I went into a dojo and I said, Gomen Asai Sensei, excuse me, can I work out here? There was about 6 black belts on the mat, and they said, no, you stand back and you learn. So I watch them and they do Nanka Kata, Kimana Kata, Judo Kata. I don't do kata cheese, for Christ's sakes. And I want a randori. And anyway, I looked on the wall and this sort of changed my life. There was a picture, an article, and a bulletin saying, Shig Tajma had passed away. Sig Tajma was the president of Nanka Dining. That's a Southern California judo group here, very good. And it read that he was in Manzanar relocation camp during World War II. I never knew that. You know, we were family. You didn't hear this prejudice stuff. It was great. And when I saw his name there and that he passed away, and if it wasn't for Shig, I wouldn't have done as well as I did, because he was not only a teacher for me, he was my #1 sparring partner. And it brought tears to my eyes. And no man ever dies. No man ever dies until he is forgotten. And I'll never forget Sheikh Tajman. And I thank Hayward for bringing his attention to mentioning a lot of the old champions. When I was a professional wrestler, along with stunt work, and I narrated on wrestling on a few programs, a young man from Holland came here. He won a gold in the Olympics. Now, his name was Wilhelm Ruska. Ever heard of him? Yeah, you have. You're as old as I am, for Christ's sake. And he was sent to me by Carl Gotch. The guy wanted to learn leg locks, heel hooks, which they do in MMA. Hayward does them. Gokar invented them all. He wanted to learn leg locks because they're illegal in judo. What I say is learn the things that are illegal so you'll be able to pass them off to your students before you die. Because when a teacher dies, a library is burnt. Now, as far as promotions go, a lot of the promotions are mail order. A lot of the degrees don't mean anything. I got a degree from Holland from a guy named John Blooming who saw Gokar and I work out. And it wasn't mail order degrees. He gave me 10th. I think Gokar's got 9th. But it's respect. You know, they treated me real well at the Kodokan, and I got different certificates. I've never got a Kodokan certificate. So I'm a white belt. I think I'll go there and challenge somebody. They let me take my squirt gun. And these degrees, the degrees don't mean a hill of beans. It's how good you are and what you can pass on to your students. And one of my degrees, one of my favorites, is the 13th degree in crooked shillelagh. Am I lying? I do club work, taught the police for about 20 years, and I don't have any striking. It's all an extension to your arm, which is a part of judo. Now to get to something that's kind of humorous, gets me sick, but I was in the, waiting for the 1954 Nationals in Kezar Pavilion, San Francisco. And all they talked about was the great Johnny Osako. And he was better than great. But he's leaning against the wall in a suit and a tie and smoking a cigar. And he's good. I said to my teacher there, Laurie Korn, I said, he's smoking a cigar. Smoking's a sign of emotional immaturity. How good can he be? And another guy came up and he said, don't worry about it. As long as match is only 5 seconds, he doesn't get tired. Anyway, we segue into later in the day, and we're all lined up, and I want to see Johnny Osako. So he goes in the first match, and they say, they bow. They bow, Hajime, they begin, and I looked, I said, what was that? I didn't know if it was Uchimata, Serenage, Hanagosh, I didn't I didn't know if it was forward or back. It was the fastest thing I've ever seen in my life. I said, my God, he's not real. I wanted to touch him, but I know he wasn't real. And then, later on in the day, they're going through the different matches, and they mentioned Johnny Osako again. And I'm waiting, I want to see him. I want to see what technique, I'm going to steal it from him. Write a book like Hal Sharp did, sell it all over the world. and they mentioned Johnny Osako, and you could hear, ooh. And then and his opponent, Gene LeBell. And I said, where the hell's that weasel? I'm looking around, and the guy's touching me on the side. He said, you're Gene LeBell. No, I'm not Gene LeBell. I don't want to be Gene LeBell. You kill me. He's like this. So a couple guys help me up. I go out. I go to bow. Luckily, I had class. I did not throw up. So for a few minutes, he threw me around like a rag doll. I guess he must have gotten tired from smoking. Fell down. I fell on top of him in a nose-high comey and held him for 30 seconds. So that was the biggest upset of the tournament. Don't smoke for you kids. Another kid I went with, I call him a kid because he was younger than me, a great national champion, died a couple of years ago, 10th degree, George Harris. He went to Japan with us, he did very well. You know, guys like that, you just don't forget, you just see them. And now in the Nationals, or the Olympics, sometimes you can have 4 or 5 matches and be the champion. In 1955, I had 18 matches. That's the time when you'd win your championship, and then all the champions went together in a round robin. So I had 18 matches. Hell, I can't even count to 18 anymore. Now, here's some of the ways that judo has helped me in my life. Completely changed my life.
3 minutes.
Huh? I got 3 minutes to go. Anyway, I'll make it. 1 minute? Okay, I'll make it quick. I was in LA high school, and if you wore corduroys in 11th grade pants, the football team would take your pants off and hang it up the flagpole. Well, they came at me, the 2 twin guys. I hit their heads together. They went down. I grabbed another guy, Makako, me on these 2 guys that were down. The fight was over. And in the newspaper, the Roman, which was the LA High newspaper, is Gene LeBell is the only one in 11th grade that can wear corduroy pants. And that's from judo. I did get to, because of judo, get to represent in the first MMA mixed martial arts televised event, a boxer against a martial artist. I was the martial artist, and Milo Savage was the boxer. He was number 5 in the world. He got the judo guy knew chokes. The fighter, my opponent, he didn't know how to counter him, and that was that. One other thing that just choked me, Hayward, I'll tell you one more thing. I got lucky enough to meet in show business different movie stars. I don't know if you've ever heard of a fellow named Bob Hope. Well, you had an actor, he was a classic, you know. He comes back, in Burbank they named an airport after him, Bob Hope Airport, right? I came back, they didn't name an airport after me.
Gene, I gotta tell you, you know, Milo Savage?
He's talking to you.
Yes, sir, I hear you.
You know what? And I'll tell you something. Nancy here my girlfriend, she's going like this, why don't you say something? Why don't you say something? Why don't you get up there and tell him that he's overtime? I'm going, shh, no, shh, shh. Am I going to say anything? No.
They're all afraid of you, Gene. That's what they say.
I have too much respect for them. And I have too much respect for all of the other guys, too. They all went overtime. Except maybe Tosh. Tosh thought he was, his time had ended. He went, oh, shoo. He was trying to get up. Here's the thing about Milo Savage. Someone had met him at the bar, and I was talking with these guys, and they said, oh yeah, we met him. We met this boxer, and the minute that we said we were in judo, and he said, do you know this guy, Gene LeBell? He said, you know what? I thought that if I held my breath, that I could stop his choke. So he was holding his breath. I don't mean to take anything away from you, Gene.
That's why he was out for 20 minutes.
He was still holding his breath.